Getty, National Archives. The latest batch of Kennedy files relate to the government's investigation into JFK's death. The latest batch of Kennedy files relate to the U.S. government's investigation into the shocking murder of the then-American president, who was killed by gunman Lee Harvey Oswald in November 1963. JFK's murder sparked a host of conspiracy theories about who really shot him dead and the events that led up to his death as his motorcade drove past crowds in Dallas, Texas. At least 19,045 documents connected with the case were released today after Mr. Trump opted to give the go-ahead for their release. Mr. Trump tweeted in October 2017, after strict consultation with General Kelly, the CIA and other agencies, I will be releasing all Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992, the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection, established by the National Archives in November 1992, consists of approximately 5 million pages. The vast majority of the collection has been publicly available without any restrictions since the late 1990s. In 1992, Congress agreed to set a 25-year deadline for releasing the remaining documents from JFK's murder. Last year, in October, over 2,800 documents were released by the U.S. National Archive. The documents approved for release both now and last October capture the frantic days after the assassination, during which federal agents desperately searched for the truth. JFK was killed by gunman Lee Harvey Oswald in November 1963. They include cables, notes and reports stamped "secret" which reveal the suspicions of the era around Cubans and communists. Many feature interviews with Mr. Oswald's associates and former colleagues about his character and attitude. One document is an interview with Emmett Charles Barbie regarding Mr. Oswald's post-Russian period employment. Mr. Barbie was Mr. Oswald's immediate supervisor while he worked as a mechanic at the Reilly Coffee Company in New Orleans. The interview reveals that Mr. Barbie described Mr. Oswald as surly, immature, spoke little and was a poor worker. U.S. National Archives saw at least 19,045 documents connected with the case were released today. Mr. Oswald was officially named as JFK's murderer. In the documents it details how he maintained the machines so poorly that he was eventually fired. And, in a bombshell piece of evidence, Mr. Barbie states, upon being fired, LHO had a day or two's pay going and gave him Barbie an address to mail the check to, which was the same post office box that was used to order the rifle alleged to be the weapon used in the assassination. Another document has information on a man called Vincent Theodore Lee, head of an organization called Fair Play for Cubas. National Archives' own document is an interview with Emmett Charles Barbie, and another batch of papers, written in Spanish, showcases Mr. Oswald's movements while he was in Mexico in 1963. These documents make it clear that he was certainly on the CIA's radar but was deemed a substantial threat. Mr. Oswald was officially named as JFK's murderer in the documents, which may go some way in quelling some of the more outrageous conspiracy theories that have surrounded JFK's death for decades. It is unlikely to stop people from speculating about what happened to the young president on the day he was shot dead near a grassy knoll. And questions about whether the gunman acted alone will never quite be put to rest, since he was later assassinated as he wasted away days after JFK's murder. Mr. Oswald was killed while in police custody. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover vented his frustration in the formerly secret report found in the files. It opened, "There is nothing further on the Oswald case except that he is dead." Following the release of the documents today, Mr. Trump issued an order to keep some of the most sensitive records sealed for another 3.5 years. The final batch is set to be released in 2021.